I can't hear you. Good morning. That's better. That's better. Today looks like we've got a beautiful day, and I'm going to kind of segue into giving thanks. So my presentation today is going to be about probably our oldest holiday in America, and it's called Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving is a special holiday for us because even before America became a country, Thanksgiving was already being celebrated. So let's get on with Thanksgiving a little bit here. You can see I'm wearing sort of what we call a Native American. We used to call them Indians, but now we call them Native Americans. Sort of the headband with the feather in it, and this is very typical of what our Native Americans, part of their costume, the way they dressed. All right, so Thanksgiving was first taken place in 1620, so that is about 401 years ago. America didn't really become a country until 1776, so Thanksgiving was already being celebrated for 150 years. You can see Thanksgiving is a national holiday. It's celebrated always on the fourth Thursday of November. This year it'll be on November 25th. And usually we take Friday off too so we can have a long weekend. And Friday is especially special because it's what we call our Black Friday, and a lot of people go shopping to prepare for Christmas time. All right, so that's all kind of a combination of the modern day Thanksgiving. We can see Thanksgiving is a time when friends and family, relatives all come together to have a celebratory dinner consisting of turkey and a lot of different other side dishes. And we just want to be able to give thanks for having hopefully a good year, a healthy year, and so on. Of course, with the pandemic and COVID and so on, everything's been difficult. But we can talk about that later. Let's talk a little bit about how our Thanksgiving got together.
好，我们今天介绍的是 Thanksgiving， 大家讲一次 Thanksgiving， 讲一次 Thanksgiving。对，那中文叫做感恩节。那你们看老师戴的那是什么头饰 ？Indians, yes。所以呢，它是一个跟印第安人有关的一个感恩的日子哈。好，那你现在看到有点像吃年夜饭的样子，就是我们的 Thanksgiving dinner。Thanksgiving dinner。那我们等下会讲到就是它的起源。
Okay, this first started when some people, we call them pilgrims, there's about 102 of them. They left Plymouth, England. The pilgrims left Plymouth, England, aboard a ship called the Mayflower, and they traveled from England to the U.S. At that time, it was not the U.S. Everybody called it the New World. And the reason they left England was because they felt that they were not able to practice their religion the way they wanted to, and they are hoping for a better opportunity in the New World. Today we kind of call that the American dream, and some people still think they can go to America and live the American dream by becoming happy and successful. Okay, there's 102 passengers. They left England on the Mayflower, and they arrived about 66 days later further north than they wanted to be in Cape Cod, which is now the U.S. state of Massachusetts.
好，那我们现在看到这个就是当年最早到美国的一群人哈，然后他们叫做清教徒，他们是基督教的一个分支。 那时间是在1620年的时候，关键字是一艘船的名字。你们觉得那艘船的名字是什么 ？Mayflower 是什么？
Mayflower，
一种卫生纸。对，5月花号，好，他们驾着这艘船来到美国。
All right, I mentioned that they were a very religious group and they wanted to be able to practice their religion. At that time, just like nowadays, religion is a very hot topic for many different types of groups, and so people will attack other people because of their religious beliefs. So they thought that by going to the New World, they would be able to do what they wanted to do and live a good life.
好，所以是讲到这群人是因为宗教信仰跟欧洲那边有一点的不同，所以来到美国的。
All right, took them 66 days to cross. We're looking at a little more than 2 months. And they landed at a place called Cape Cod. Cape Cod is sort of a piece of land that goes out from the mainland of the U.S. and sort of a horseshoe shape. And they stayed there for about 1 month. And then they sailed across the bay to the mainland, and then they named that place Plymouth also, after their city in England.
好，他们从欧洲横越了大西洋 Atlantic Ocean， 然后这时间花了66天的时间哦。那驾着这一艘船来。Next one.
We can see from the map there, the green part is England at the top there, and that is Plymouth, and then follow their path across the Atlantic, and their journey ended there at Cape Cod.
好，老师刚刚讲到那个地名 Cape Cod， 就是现在那个红色点点，美国那个红色点点，就是他们登陆的地方。
Okay, you can see, I don't have a pointer, but maybe you can show them the top point of Cape Cod. No, okay. As I said, Cape Cod comes up like that, and there's a little black dot up there. That's where they first stayed for about 30 days. Then they sailed across the bay. You can see Plymouth up there, Plymouth. And some people want to say Plymouth, but it's not Plymouth. We say Plymouth. And so that's where they established their village. And that's where they first came into contact with what we at one time called Indians, but now we call them Native Americans.
好，那你现在看到的是刚刚那个红点点放大的地方哈，就是那个有点勾起来那个地方。那他们就在那个旁边，同学不知道有没有看到一个比较大红点点呢？就在那个地方，哦，就定居下来了。那个地方就是一个关键字，叫做普利茅斯。普利茅斯。好，那这个地方呢是在美国的麻州。
Okay, and the first Thanksgiving then was in 1621. It kind of celebrates the successful harvest of all the vegetables and crops and things like that. And they met up with the Native Americans, and you can see there in that second part right there, the feast lasted 3 days, and there was 90 Native Americans who attended and 53 pilgrims. So they had quite a big gathering, and that actually goes down in history as our first Thanksgiving. You can see the picture of the type of clothing. The one on the left and the one in the middle, that's very typical of what our Native Americans would wear. And this continued on up until probably somewhere in the 1900s or so. Then on the right, you can see the Pilgrim Lady, the way she was dressed. And, this is also very similar to, we have kind of people in the U.S. called Amish, and they also kind of dress this way now.
好，那大家现在看到的就是他们受到印第安 experience， 对吧？但是老师说他们比较常说的是倒数第二行那个字 Native Americans， 美国的原住民，他们比较常这样子说哈。受到他们的帮助，那受到他们帮助之后，在隔年的秋天 ，fall， 在隔年秋天，也就是11月的时候，也就是在今年的话是老师刚刚说11月25号是感恩节哈，那他们就请印第安人吃大餐。那当时第一次呢有90个印第安人，然后有53个清教徒。
All right, so when we met up, when the Pilgrims met up with the Native Americans, both groups shared food and gifts and things like that with each other, and so they were especially thankful, the Pilgrims were, that they had that opportunity to gain some knowledge about the area, and the Native Americans were quite helpful with their settling into the area. The Pilgrims were also thankful. One of the reasons that they had Thanksgiving is they celebrate some type of military victory or some other special occasion, and God's blessings.
好，然后这个传统就这样渐渐的流传下来哈，然后他们会吃大餐啊，也会送礼物这样子，然后会感恩。
Now we have a famous painting. I believe the guy is French. It looks like Jean Leon or Paris. He painted the first Thanksgiving from his own vision in 1899, and we can see it's probably a pretty good depiction of what happened between the Native Americans and the Pilgrims. They shared their food, they shared their tools, they became friends, and so on.
好，这就是一幅很有名的画，那它的名称一定是叫做什么？第一个什么？对，第一个感恩节哈。那它在里面就有画到，就是在跟印第安人分享食物，对吧？
Okay, this is kind of a typical Thanksgiving meal. Of course, every family is a little different. When I was growing up, we had Thanksgiving dinner at my grandma's house all the time. She made a wonderful turkey. But we also had mashed potatoes and gravy. Unfortunately, I don't see any picture of that here. But you can see that the feast between the Pilgrims and the Native Americans, they are called Wampanoag. They had turkey, waterfowl. Waterfowl refers to fowls, kind of birds, different types of birds, and waterfowl would be birds that are usually on the water, like ducks and geese and so on like that. Venison is deer. Of course, fish, lobster, berries, fruit, pumpkin, and squash. You guys know pumpkin from Halloween, of course. Many foods were included, and they have since gone on to become really part of our tradition when we have our Thanksgiving dinner.
好，我们现在看到是感恩节会吃什么哈？那大家告诉我是什么吧 ？Pumpkin pie， 告诉我是什么 ？Yes， 然后 turkey，Yes， 然后 cranberry sauce， 这个你们可能就不知道对不对 ？Cranberry 呢是什么梅？猜一下，知道答案吗？什么梅？蔓越莓啊，好，蔓越莓酱，蔓越莓酱哈，他们会沾这个吃。好，接下来左下角那个是火鸡的填充物，火鸡的填充物，肚子里面塞一些香料啊、蔬菜啊那些哈 ，stuffing。好，接下来往右走是 bread roast 面包，再来最右边是 green peas 豆子。老师刚刚还有提到一个东西，马铃薯泥 mashed potatoes。好，这些都是他们传统会吃的东西。
All right, this is also kind of typical of a Thanksgiving dinner. You see, just like with the Halloween pumpkin, we call this carving the turkey. We We use that special big fork up there, and there's also a big knife, and we cut the pieces down. A lot of people will use an electric knife because there's a lot of carving of the turkey to do. Actually, when you cook the turkey, it takes quite a while. It can be, depending on the size of the turkey, it might be 3 to 4 hours baking in the oven.
好，那你现在看到就是那个 turkey， 它已经烤好了，然后要切下来吃。然后老师刚刚有讲到，甚至于会用电动的刀来切哦。
And you can see some of the other stuff. Now, something very famous about Halloween. I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on Halloween when I look at pumpkins. Anyway, this is the Macy's is a very large department store in New York City. And they sponsor a Thanksgiving parade every year. Last year it wasn't held because of the pandemic, but this is from 2019. This is what we call Mount Rushmore, 4 famous presidents. And these floats are all tied down, and if the wind is strong that day, they cannot use the floats because they're worried about safety if the floats get away, the balloons.
好，现在看到是感恩节一个非常就是重要活动哈，就是大游行。它是一个百货公司开始发起的。
You can see a lot of those balloons are floating because there's helium inside, and so they have to hold the lines very tightly so they don't get away. And of course, we have Santa Claus right there getting ready to prepare for Christmas time. He's got his sleigh and his reindeer.
那感恩节接下来就是圣诞节，所以会有圣诞老公公出现哦。好，然后我们现在要讲一下这个大游行的历史。
Now this is a brief history of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Macy's is a very famous department store.
One thing it's unlikely to downsize anytime soon, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And the spectacle of watching the parade isn't the only astounding thing. Look at some of the facts. Over 8,000 Macy's employees and performers will march the 2.5-mile route, including 12 marching bands, the cast of 4 Broadway shows, and the Rockettes. If sustained winds are over 23 miles per hour and gusts over 34 miles per hour, city regulations say that giant balloons can't fly at all, something that's only happened once in 1971.
So if it's too windy, then they can't fly the balloons.
Some recent estimates say it's about $11 million to $13 million to stage. The parade started as a Christmas celebration in 1924, with employees, jazz bands, and even animals from the Central Park Zoo all marching their way from 145th Street to the Macy's flagship store on 34th. The iconic giant balloons replaced live animals a few years later in 1927, and celebrities started joining in the festivities in the 30s. It has only ever been suspended for 3 years during World War II due to the demand for rubber and helium. Starting after the end of the war, the parade got a major boost when footage was in the 1947 classic holiday film Miracle on 34th Street, and national television broadcasts began in 1948. The parade route has changed several times over the years, but the one thing that hasn't in its decades-long history, Santa Claus is always the main attraction.
All right, very good, you guys. Now it's time for a little bit of Q&A. All right, I'm going to head over here to Mr. Turkey. And tell me, which kind of bird do you represent? I'm a turkey. Gobble, gobble, gobble. There you go. It's a turkey. Give that man.
来，掌声，为我们的火鸡掌声。
All right. Next, I want to know, does anybody know the name of the ship that the Pilgrims came over on when they left Plymouth in 1620? Does anybody know the name of the ship? You know the name of the ship? Mayflower is correct. Very good. Good answer. All right.
好，老师刚刚说那个那艘船叫什么名字啊？还记得吗 ？Yes, Mayflower.
And next question. Who knows the name of our holiday that we're talking about?
感恩节怎么说？
That is correct. Very good. Thanksgiving. Good answer. Right here. All
还有
right.
他
Excellent.
的学校什么？
All right. Does anybody know the year that the Pilgrims came over from England? Does anybody know the year?
有没有人记得是16多少年来的？
1620, that is correct. Very good. The blue mask right here. Very good. All right.
1620年哦。
And you can see up here, this is our time of kind of reflection. We think about what we did during the year, our hopes, our dreams, the good things that happened, the bad things that happened, and hope that we're thankful that we have our family, friends, we have our good health, we have food on the table, a roof over our heads, and we hope that when the new year comes that all that good luck will continue.
Are you going to ask them about who they want to thank?
Sorry?
Who do they want to thank?
They want to say? All right.
来，有没有同学想要回答你最想感谢谁呢？请到老师那边可以得到小礼物，快点。这里很简单，快点去找老师。
What do you want to say?
后面2年级的同学，你最想感谢谁呢？在这个感恩的日子，想回答的去找老师。
You want to thank your mom? All right, very good. He's got it. All right, okay, very good. What do you want to say? You want to thank your mother. All right, this man loves his mother. All right, very good. How about you? What do you want to thank?
My teacher.
Oh, special. Special right here. He wants to thank his teacher. Oh, very good. Keep on thinking that way, all right? Good job. Very good. Okay. All right. Who would you like to thank? Who?
Where's my phone?
Me?
No.
Wow. Shut out.
Oh, shit.
Okay. All right, very good. Thank you very much.
That's my phone. Here.
Yeah, very
老
good.
师同学很棒啊，想要 感谢 Michael。
Who would you like to thank? Cats? You'd like to thank cats?
Yes.
Okay, very good. She would like to thank cats. All right, good job. All right. Oh, back with Mr. Shirky. Gobble, gobble. Who would you like to thank?
My friend.
Your friends. All right, it's good to have friends, right? You can never have enough friends. Excellent, very good. How about you? Who would you like to thank? Your family and your teachers. Good answer. Very good. How about you? Who would you like to thank?
Oh, this is Michael.
Oh, it's got to be another Michael. It can't be me. All right. All right. Very good. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Good job. Any other questions? Anybody have any questions out there? All right. Very good. Oh. No. Okay. Any questions? Anybody? Any questions about Thanksgiving? Any questions? All right. I guess we're all finished then, right?
Yeah. 好，那我们今天谢谢 Michael 为我们讲感谢的故事。
Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you also. All right. Have a wonderful day. And we're starting school, right? All right. See you guys.
好来，我先说一下，来这张纸上。好来，你有写过外事文化中分享你喜欢的心情？